What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I know you guys are familiar with a lot of the stuff I do, but today I've got something quite special and brand new. My name is Austin Ariel. Welcome to the channel. Today I'm very happy to have an SUV like this at my hands because this has just arrived in showrooms. Everybody knows what we're looking at here. We're talking about the 2022 Acura MDX. This one is a technology packaged vehicle. I will be doing a review on the A-Spec model soon, so keep an eye out for that. But in saying that, we're going to go through this vehicle from the ground up, just like Acura did, to recreate what their idea of a luxury SUV should be. So today we're going to take a look at this one, and I'm going to show you what you get for about $51,000 to $52,000, guys. That's right, you heard me, about $51,000 to $52,000. Today, we're going through this thing, and I am super excited. Let's get to it. Don't forget, guys, if you like what you're seeing, if you've looked at my other videos and you're like, man, these videos are cool, definitely support the channel. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of good content coming for you guys, and definitely hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. That way you get an alert every time I release a video. So again, I do want to say thank you to everybody who's already supported the channel enough. I can't thank you guys enough. So in saying that, let's get back to the review. All right, let's start off with the front end of this new Acura MDX. I mean, this thing is striking. As you can see, they are definitely evolving their styling for these cars. A lot of their language is very angular in nature, and that's something that you're going to find carried over from the TLX onto this model. So for one, look at this grille. This thing is huge. It's very imposing. It's kind of got that Superman diamond shape going on, and then you've got these jewel shaped elements here that are angled towards this huge emblem. And let's talk about how huge this emblem is. Look at my hand, guys. This emblem is larger than my hand. The emblem. And I thought Lincoln was the king of emblems, but God bless Acura, you've got this one in the bag. But it's also cool because the emblem also doubles in this case as the radar cruise control radar protector brick thingy. I don't know what the specific term is. If you guys know, comment down below. Now, let's talk about other elements. You do have front parking sensors on the car and rear parking sensors. That is one of the things that comes with the technology package in this vehicle. Everybody's going to wonder what these low indentions are. That's just if you want to put a front plate on it. Now, going down to the other elements of the vehicle, down here you do have chrome. That's a really nice accent, especially on a luxury SUV, and I do like it especially on this white pearl paint. Notice that the grille surround is also in this chrome accent. It looks really nice. One thing I will make note is that the chrome that's actually on the emblem, it almost looks kind of tinted darker, maybe because the glass that's actually shielding the radar cruise control beacon, as we'll call it. We'll call it a beacon. Bacon. Now, other things to make note. This side air curtain, not real. It's actually plastic piece. It's not functional. Same thing with down here, but if I'm not mistaken, higher trims will actually have LED fog lights down here, so that's probably just what they're doing here. And then down here you do have plastic that embellishes the bumper a little bit. It doesn't look tacky, surprisingly, but I get it. But it's also hollow, so it does allow for air to actually feed the V6. And make note that about half of this front grille is actually hollowed out too. There is closed plastic pieces on the outside there, but the front end is hollow to let a little bit of air in on the front end of the Acura. Now, the headlight unit, really, really cool, very slim. And that's something that can't be said about a lot of car manufacturer headlights to this day, but they are definitely going slimmer with the headlight unit. Everything is LED. You've got LED running lights, you've got LED projector beam bulbs. In addition to that, they continue their dual LED headlight interface there. I don't know if you should really call it an interface, but that's just their design language. Acura really implemented that with the last generation MDX and the facelifted version. You will have your indicators on the bottom here as well. So you do have LED everything. So, and then everything is kind of an L shape, or not an L shape, maybe a heartbeat sensor shape, EKG. But overall, it's a very, very nice look. And I will make note that the housing itself is black. That is really nice because it gives a good contrast to the car, but it also gives you that sense of sportiness, which Acura is definitely pushing with this new generation. Now, looking at the hood, It's not really bulging or anything like that. It just goes really well. It's angular a little bit with design language of the car. So overall, it's a really handsome design in the front, and I think it was very, very much needed to this car. Very well done, Acura. Big shout out to Jackson Acura here in Roswell, Georgia. They're the ones that made this video completely possible, and I am very, very thankful for that. As you can see, they have a huge inventory, everything from TLXs to MDXs, including the outgoing models and the brand new ones. So if you want to, I will link the description below and check out their inventory. Again, big thank you to them. If you guys are in the market for a new or pre-owned Acura, these are the people to come to. Let's talk about the wheel set. Like I said, this is a technology model. You do have 20-inch wheels on this thing, which is great. The last model, I believe only the PMC edition, maybe the A-Spec offered 20s. This has 20-inch wheels as well. It looks really, really nice. You do have a machined finish on the outside, painted inserts as well. You do have a kind of grayed out badge of the Acura emblem to match the wheel. I think that's a handsome look there. And then it is wrapped in a 255/50 R20 tire provided by Bridgestone. So that, I guess, is their tire of choice for this one, but you are riding on a 255 tire with a 50 series sidewall. So pretty thick tire, but also pretty thick sidewall. So this thing should ride comfortably, which of course we'll find out. So overall, it's a really handsome design. It goes with the car. It's not too overstyled. It's not too understyled. I think it fits perfectly in the middle, though that A-Spec model, whew, looks good. So very well done, Acura. I want to talk about a little bit what's going on the side of the vehicle here. So there's a few design elements that I do like and that I'm actually surprised that they went with. One of them being this gigantic chrome molding on the side that has a little kink at the end here. I'm surprised they put it on here, but it's really tastefully done. And then down here, it is some hard plastic along with the wheel well surround itself. I get it. They want this to also be a durable vehicle, but also sportier vehicle. So if you spiritedly drive and things like that, and you're kicking up rocks and things like that, you're not damaging paint aspects. I get it. I understand. I'm not mad, but just make note of that if you are looking to purchase an MDX. So overall, I do like this. The design of the handle, pretty straightforward. It is an exposed keyhole. I think I would have probably just wanted a non-exposed keyhole, just because a lot of companies, whether economical or luxury, are going to that. And then you do have chrome on the actual mirror itself that continues from the front fender. So that's actually a really interesting design cue right there, but I think it's really nice. It's definitely something that a lot of people probably won't notice, but I do, and I think it's really nice. Let's talk about the rear of the new 2022 Acura MDX. As you can see, styling is very, very much neededly updated. It looks very handsome in the back. All right, that is the main thing that I'm going to say about the rear end. One thing I do like, and this is something that is actually kind of rare in today's market of vehicles, the front and rear lighting matches in terms of shape. This has the same kind of kink that you're going to find on the headlights, and I think that is such a really attractive feature in a car. So it shows symmetry to deliver the same kind of emotion in the front that you're going to feel in the back. Okay. And I think they executed that really well. Not only that, everything back here is LED. You know, the running lights, brake lights, indicators, you know, it's really handsome. One thing I really do like, and I'll show you a clip of it very soon, in the rear, is that the taillights are actually hollow, the LED running lights. It's just a super cool look. So overall, I think a very handsome design, and I actually like the size of the taillight. It accentuates the rear beautifully. So very well done, Acura. Now, going down to the bottom, that chrome, they are going to town with this chrome, because you have it all on the rear. It accents the whole rear of the vehicle. Overall, I think it looks good from a luxury standpoint. If this was like a sportier trim, I think they would have missed the mark. But because this is definitely a more luxurious trim of the MDX, perfectly fine. Really, really tasteful. You do have the rear reflectors actually embedded right here. Kind of cool that it blends in. When I first looked at the rear, I didn't even notice it. So really cool there. But you do also have your rear parking sensors, like I said. And then look at this, guys. You have a true dual exhaust. And if you notice from my TLX video, the exhaust shape is the same. okay? It has that angular look, kind of almost like that Superman diamond shape that you're finding in the grille in the front. That is a very strong design cue from Acura now, and I think they're really working with that, and it's paying off for them now. And I think this is going to be a huge hit for them, because if I'm not mistaken, this is the best selling third row SUV from any luxury brand ever. That's a big title to hold, especially from a brand that's not too high volume when it comes to luxury vehicles. Honda obviously does better than their Acura counterpart, but this is the exact vehicle they needed to make, and I think they executed it so far wonderfully. So very well done. Now, other things to make note, you do have a backup camera here. You do have a washer jet for the backup camera. I was actually told that's actually new, so very cool to see that. And then you do have a power tailgate, wiper stalk on the bottom of the windshield. I feel like this was a very good opportunity to make the spoiler a little bit bigger and hide that sucker underneath. I don't know why they didn't do that. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it still looks really nice, and the tinted glass definitely helps a ton. And then you do have a grayed out third brake light up here, tastefully located. I'm a fan. Now, let's get into the tailgate and see what you get in the back of the new Acura MDX. As promised, here's a shot of the taillight unit. You notice it is actually hollowed out, like I said. You can see the indicator, very tastefully done, but it's just a really, really handsome look. Here in the front, you can see the headlight unit, the running light, and guys, it just flickers because LEDs don't show up correctly on cameras. I'm surprised people don't know this yet, but it does. So it doesn't really flicker, it's a consistent light. And then you can see the indicators there. Just looks super, super handsome and clean. I'm gonna back up for you guys so y'all can see it. Look at that, just really, really nice. All right, we're gonna get into the rear of this MDX. Press the power release. And look at that. So it is a power tailgate, something that you'd expect on a luxury SUV. You can adjust the height at which it opens by just pressing this and holding, okay? Now, this is a third row SUV. So looking back here, space is kind of on the tighter side, but that's because this is not a full-size SUV, guys. This is not a Ford Expedition, a Cadillac Escalade size vehicle. This is gonna compete with like the Acura Q7, etc., etc. Let's look at this. So back here, you will see that you do have a power outlet back here. You do have tie down points as well, which is really nice to see. And then of course, you do have these features to roll down, or not roll down, but let down the rear seats. So you actually do pull these rather. It releases the third row seat. It's kind of an interesting way to roll down, considering most manufacturers have like levers here or like buttons on the side. They decided to go with handles. Down here, you have a handle to pull up, and then you do have a lot of space underneath here. So you do have things like the spare tire jack and things like that underneath. And then of course you can use this for storage if you want to, but so far nothing too special back here. Let's check out the second row space. Before we check out the second row space, I know everybody's gonna wonder what this is. It says max 3 kilograms. You kick that and it's actually a little hanger. So really kind of cool, kind of cute. Push that back in. All right, we are sitting in the second row seating for the Acura MDX, and dimensions are very similar to the outgoing model. It is a little bit bigger in here, and it has a panoramic sunroof, which looks absolutely incredible. It is huge, very similar to the RDX, but overall, this seat is actually very, very far back. I'd be surprised if you can actually move this a little further back, but I actually have more than enough leg room. The seat is pretty wide. The middle seat actually can become a little partition with cup holders. I'll show you guys that in a little bit, but overall, I've got a ton of headspace. I'm very comfortable. These seats are actually a little bit on the firm side. For you guys who've been watching this channel, y'all know I love firm seats, but overall, the material quality in here feels really nice. I mean, super, super nice. You got LED lighting on the interior. I feel really comfortable back here, but why don't I show you guys what you're gonna expect when you're actually looking in this space. So when you're going into an Acura MDX, let's talk about what's on the door card, right? The technology package. You are gonna get these sunshades that are manual, but who cares? It doesn't take much for you to put up a sunshade. you should have bigger problems than that, honestly. You do have this really nice metal finish here. It is actually, I love it. It feels really nice. It's not textured, which is really good in my opinion. Metal finish for the handle, of course, the leather that goes into the door card. You do have plastic buttons, but look at that. You got a metal finish on the tip there. That is really nice. It's not just completely plastic. So really well done there. Little pull there. Speaker grills. Back here, they are plastic. I wish they would have made it at least like a finish like this. It would have set it off really well. Cup holder here, and then you do have a storage pocket there. Probably good for a few snacks. And then let's talk about the rest of the rear. So for the seats, you can actually press this button and it'll actually release the seat itself. So if you want to get into the third row, you can. But also you have this lever here. So if you want to manually adjust the seat, you can. So it's very, very easy to actually maneuver these seats. You do have a bar in the front. So if you wanted to slide it forward or backwards, you can. It takes a little bit of effort, but the seat's actually pretty light compared. And then, like I said, this lever will actually fold the seat back. And then while this is down, I want you guys to note you have that same button on the shoulder pad. So if you are in the third row, you can actually easily get out. Other things to make note of, back here you have your own climate control system. You can change the temperature, fan speed, automatic, directions. I mean, you name it, you can adjust it back here. You do have 2 USB chargers back here, and then you do have a power outlet back here, and then this is just a blank area. Now, we'll make note, these are both just normal USBs. They're not USB-Cs. I'm kind of interested in why they went with that, but who knows. You do have a gloss-like surround here. Looks really nice. I do imagine a lot of fingerprints will probably get on that from kids, but that's easy to just wipe clean. And then the seat backs do have storage pockets on both seat backs, so you can put whatever you need to back here. The seat backs are plastic, but now that I think about it, I think that's a smart move because you're gonna have kids in the second row of seats. You don't want them damaging a nice material for the seat back, so I understand why they did that. And then, like I said, look at the panoramic sunroof. Thing's massive. And LED lighting, super nice, but super massive. Really cool. Now, with this middle seat, you do have this little pull here, which will actually release the middle partition. And like I said, the seat, from what I understand, does not come out completely, but it does expose 2 cup holders, and you can see here you have a little storage pocket there. So to put this in perspective, this is what my mic actually comes in, and it fits perfectly here. It's actually a really nice size. You can probably store 2 phones resting in there, etc. But let's show you guys what the third row is all about. So I am actually in the third row of the MDX. I'm actually going to pull this back just to show you guys. So I'm 5'9". My knees are actually against the second row seat, but this seat is actually all the way back. So all things considered, I'm actually not too cramped. I can stay comfortable here, maybe for a short period of time, but I do have a ton of headroom, so that is not an issue with me. You do have these little windows here, which is nice, and then you do have these small little cup holders or storage pockets back here. But one thing I am surprised of is that there's no USB connections back here. That'd be really nice to see. Maybe that's available on a higher trim level. I'd be curious to see, but overall, it is actually really nice back here. I have no true complaints. Like I said, getting out of the third row, super easy. Just press that, releases forward, and then you can get out. We are in the Acura MDX 2022 model. Look at this. You have this digital screen. I'm actually going to lower the steering wheel here. Look at that. Look at that. I believe that is a 12-inch gauge cluster with a 12-inch screen there. I mean, just beautiful. I'm going to say the quality of the display is incredible. It is, I'd go as far to say probably 4K. I mean, that's unrealistic, but it is extremely high quality. I love the way this thing looks. It is just super, super cool. I think it's awesome. And one little neat thing that I really like is when you put this thing in a drive, look at the car. Look at that. It just goes. It changes views. So it's like, okay, we're going on the road. Really cool. Put it in park, goes right back. That's awesome. You can see you got your tachometer on the left-hand side, and then you have your gear on the lower left-hand corner, mileage, temperature, safety system, and And then of course on the right hand side, your speedometer. And then for all you guys who looked at my TLX video, this is going to look very familiar. This is not a touch screen, okay? I repeat, not a touch screen, okay? But you go down here and you do have a touchpad for this screen, and it's actually not really that cumbersome. Lexus made it very difficult, but this one's easy. Use the left one here to control the left area. You can actually scroll if you wanted to, so it's just really easy. And then this right small little rectangle area actually controls the area on the right here, so little widgets there. So you see you got navigation, things like that. Phone, I'll hit navigation. This is actually a pressure pad too, so you can push in if you want, and you can see you got everything you need to, and it's very intuitive, so it's really not that hard to maneuver. Now I will make the note, there is a lot of gloss black here. They could have broken it up a little bit with more metal finishes, so that's going to be a hate it or love it from the community. It doesn't bother me too much. I'm indifferent. I'm just going to say that from the get-go. You do have, of course, your dual zone climate controls. Of course, I keep them on and off just for the sake of the video, but you got your dual zone climate controls. You have your fan speeds here, and then this model does have heated seats, and you can actually set it to an auto position. So if you want it to be connected to your climate controls, you can actually do that. You do have the Acura emblem here for the dynamic mode selector, aka the drive mode selector, which is really nice. I like that attention to detail, and it's just this beautiful metal finish. Looks really handsome. And then on the right hand side, you can see the passenger has their own heated seats, but you have access for not only rear locks for the temperature controls, but you also do have your defroster settings as well. And then look at this. You see that little battery with a lightning bolt in it? You actually press that, boop. See, they got a USB-C here, but not for the back. I'm kind of interested on why. I guess they think that children have old phones, not new ones. But really cool to see that, and then you just press it down and it's hidden. You do have shift-by-wire transmission. This is a 10-speed automatic transmission, which is really nice. Drive/sport, neutral. Reverse is actually a little toggle button, and then park, press down. You do have your idle, stop, and go button there to turn it off, and then you do have your brake hold button, so if you press that, it does hold the brake pedal for you while you're in drive. Down here, like I said, the trackpad, you do have things like your home button, back button, widget selector, etc. A volume knob button down here, which I'm kind of shocked that they put something right there. That reminds me of something that Audi does. And then your forward and reverse track buttons here, just awkwardly placed, but for some reason it works in a really weird way. I don't know why. Storage pocket here, 2 cup holders. This is actually a place to rest your hand, so if you are going to use that trackpad, you can do that. And then right here you do have a wireless charger for your phone, which is really nice, and a little power button there to actually let you see if anything's active or charging, which is really cool. In the middle partition here, you do have an area for storage. So you got another USB, another power outlet, and then you do have this little button here. So when you press that, boom. You have more storage for random things. This one has glasses in it because this is a manager's demo. So really neat to see there. Frameless mirror, auto dimming with home link, looks really nice. And then up here you do have controls for the sunroof. So the left hand side, you can actually adjust the glass. This is for the carpet itself, and then just the lighting settings for the car. And then back here you do have a sunglass holder, which is actually really cool because a lot of companies are going away with that. Glad to see Acura doing that. And then let's talk about the steering wheel. So the steering wheel, very similar to the outgoing body style, more evolutionary rather than revolutionary. So you do have, of course, your infotainment settings here, you know, volume, you got your speed and command function, back arrow, etc. Over here you do have more in terms of cruise control functions. You've got your lane safety, your radar cruise control distance selector, and then of course your cruise control selector. And over here you can actually select what kind of information you want to see. You have a G meter in an MDX. A G meter. Who's going to be counting their G's in a MDX? Who knows? Driver attention warning, and then we'll blank there. Safety support, and then gauge settings as well. So you can push and actually change it, gauge layout, everything. It's actually really cool that you can adjust this. So I'm actually very, very impressed. So very cool Acura, very, very cool. And then make note, you can actually turn this left or right too. So you can actually go forward and backwards based on what you want to see. So, but that's essentially what that screen will show you. And then over here, of course, like I said, you do have your tachometer. You can see your lighting settings on the left-hand side, and then your drive modes. When you actually change them, look at that. Sport changes the whole look here. You can actually bring it back to normal. You got comfort, snow mode. So look at that. And then on the screen, of course, you got the same kind of simulations that you had from the TLX, which is really, really nice to see. Of course, everybody knows I love sport, but I'm gonna put it back to normal. And then you do have an individual, so if you want to make it a little bit more personalized, you can, which is really nice. Now, with the technology package, you are also going to get automatic rain sensing wipers on the wiper stalk. And make note, the wiper stalk, yes, it is plastic fantastic, but you do have a metallic finish on the end, so it looks really nice. So they do a little bit to differentiate it from Honda counterparts, because again, this is Honda's luxury division. Now, the engine start-stop button, silver with red and a red surround. That is super sporty. I love that. That is a small attention to detail that I love. And then you do have paddle shifters for your minus and plus, so you can upshift and downshift as you please. And then on the door card itself, you do have your memory settings. And then, of course, metal finish for the handle, metal finish for the actual decoration on the door. And look at that. See, this is the speaker grill that I wish they would have kept for the rear as well, for the ELS Studio sound system. It's a really, really nice sound system. I really wish they would have continued the speaker grill for the rear speakers in the back. You do have power folding mirrors with the technology package, and then of course you have your basic switch gear here, lock, unlock, you've got your door handles, and then down there you do have your tailgate release. So overall, a very, very nice interior. I think this is definitely the update that Acura needed. I'm very impressed, especially with this gauge cluster. They brought this car into modern times in the way that they needed to. Absolutely beautiful. Look at that. You even have memory settings on the passenger side too. That's cool. Not every luxury manufacturer actually has that, but it's really nice to see. So like I said, this car after destination stickers at about 53 grand. Before destination, MSRP is about 51, 52. So for the money, you do get a lot. So make note of that, guys. Make note. This thing is really cool. And then another thing I want to point out right before we get out of the interior, you do have another charging port right there on the passenger side. Just make note of that. So overall, very, very nice. Really quick, two more interior elements I really did want to point out. The backup camera, this model does not have a surround view camera, but it does have different options here. So of course the backup camera quality is fantastic in this car. You do have dynamic guidelines, which is nice, but you do have different views. So if you want to, you can actually see, like if you want to tow something or anything of that nature, you have all those views. So just make note of that. And then another thing is down here, you do have your electronic parking brake, but it's actually inverted. Most make you pull to activate it, but this one you push and then you actually pull to deactivate. So just make note of that. All right. So we're in the 2022 Acura MDX. Right now the car is in normal mode, and I'm gonna say right off the bat, the steering feel in this thing is incredibly light. Okay, so I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. It is very, very light steering, and that is something that I didn't actually expect, but holy cow, it's very light, but for some reason it's very direct. Now, another thing is, it's pretty nice in here. It's pretty quiet. I can tell that they definitely went with refinement as an option here, or not really an option, a basis for this vehicle. It looks amazing on the outside, but they brought that same amazingness to the inside. So the material quality in this car is very nice. It's definitely more upscale. It definitely differentiates between Honda counterparts, which is something that Acura has struggled with in the past. You can get a fully loaded Pilot and be like, why would I want to go to an MDX? Well, this is why you'd go to an MDX now. This interior is beautiful, and it's very well laid out, very sporty, has a lot of features, or not features, but design elements that you're getting from, say, the NSX supercar, which a lot of Acura models get now. One thing that is new for the 2022 model, you do have this 10-speed transmission. The outgoing one, I believe, had a 9-speed, so not only fuel economy, but they did want to change the way that the performance is in this car. So it does have a 3.5 V6 carried over from the outgoing model, has around 290 horsepower, but all in all, the transmission changes the way that the car behaves. So again, the transmission is made to transmit power, you know, transfer power from the engine to the wheels, which ultimately get it to the road. So overall, it's a very nice feel, very direct feel, which is something that you'd want in this SUV. Now, Acura is trying to make this a more athletically based SUV for the masses, and I think they've executed that quite well. You know, whether it's the looks or the interior, or just that digital gauge cluster, which I'm still super happy they've done. But overall, it's a very, very nice machine that they've created here. I'm actually going to put it in sport mode. I'm actually at a red light now, but I'm going to put it in sport mode. I want to see how the steering feel changes, if it does, and just how the car reacts, because one aspect of driving this vehicle is getting that feel. Ooh, yeah. That felt nice. Definitely reactive. Wow. Oh my goodness. Very reactive. The steering, it's a little bit heavier, but it's not sports car heavy by any means of the imagination. So for those who want a super sporty SUV, like a high performance SUV, this one might not give you that feel. Power wise, you've got decent power out of that V6. It's not going to throw you back in your seat, but it definitely gives you that fun factor. So a lot of you know this term that I use a lot, but think of like Miata, right? Miata syndrome, where you don't have a lot of power, but you can mash it and still be, you know, in a safe speed factor, so to speak. This car has that. It really does have that. You know, you can lay on the gas, you hear that V6 roar, you get a little excited, but you're still in the speed limit area. I will say this 10-speed auto shifts incredibly fast. I'm not sure who manufactures this 10-speed. I don't know if it's in-house, ZF, Tremec, I don't know, but it feels fantastic. And power delivery is instant. Oh my goodness, wow. It's got a little power meter on the side too. I don't know if y'all noticed in the gauge cluster when I switched to sport mode, but it does have a power meter, which I think is actually cool. So they're implementing sportier aspects of this SUV into the gauge cluster, which I find to be cool. Now, one thing I'm gonna say, the seats are firm, just like the rear seats, which I like. Everybody knows I like firm seats, so it feels really nice. Another thing I'm going to say is that the suspension is on the firmer side, but you don't feel it. I don't know if that's going to make sense, but it does for me. All in all, it's a comfortable ride. It doesn't beat you up, but it's exactly what you need in an SUV like this. Now, visibility wise, it's amazing. Obviously, you've got big windows everywhere. That's something that I've noticed that Acura and Honda do really well. Visibility everywhere is fantastic. This panoramic roof definitely adds a lot of kind of an airy feel to the mix. So I think it just looks very airy, but also looks really nice in here. Other thing I want to make note of, I think the technology package, if I'm not mistaken, also comes with this ambient lighting. I don't know if you guys can really see it. It's not worth showing on video during the daytime just because it's too bright out. But being in this car right now with the ambient lighting, I will say you can barely see it. And that, I don't think that's a shot at Acura. I don't want anybody to misconstrue that. I just wholeheartedly think that that's a car thing in general. A lot of car companies have ambient lighting as a feature on their cars, whether luxury or economy branded, and it never shows up during the daytime. That's purely a nighttime thing. Nighttime, I bet you it looks sweet, but in the daytime, you don't really see it, so what's the point? No offense. I've never been one for ambient lighting. Some people are, that's not me. But if you like it, you have it in this car, you'll love it in the nighttime. Man, I will say this V6 sounds really nice. I'm actually curious to use the paddle shifters. I'm gonna press the D switch again. There we go, sport for the transmission. I'm at 4,000 RPMs, 3,000, wow, that's cool. Paddle shifters, yep, shows you what gear you're in. That's cool. Downshifts are a little bit on the slow side. Upshifts are pretty quick. Shift up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's quick, but it's not fast. So I think if you want to have a little bit more fun in this, you definitely want to stick to just letting the car shift itself. But I will say, you know, hopefully the Type S model, which is coming soon with that twin turbo V6 powertrain, I hope for the transmission they do make the shifts quicker, because I do think that'd be necessary on a higher performance vehicle. So overall, I'm not disappointed, but if you're expecting it to be kind of like an F1 car, you're gonna be disappointed. But overall, it gives you that option to actually have fun. I'm actually gonna that's fun. And it's fun because you push the gas and you don't have to fear, you don't have that fear of going too fast. Oh, it sounds so good. I'm curious to see if this thing has piped in audio. Holy cow, this thing sounds really, really good. Oh my goodness. Wow. Downshift. That downshift was actually very fast. Very quick, actually. Downshift. That downshift was fast. Maybe you gotta work it a little bit. I don't know. Those downshifts were actually very fast. But man, this thing sounds incredible. Like, super good. I'm already smitten by the way this thing looks, because I've always been very, not aspirational, but very hopeful for the Acura brand, because I grew up in a Honda / Acura household. You know, we had quite a few Hondas. My first car was a Honda Del Sol. So I've had a soft spot for the brand. But here, you know, the MDX, I feel like kind of got a little vanilla. You can't say that anymore. This is sweet. I just really wish it had heavier steering. That I will say. And because it doesn't, that part's a tiny bit disappointing. But this car is going to be bought by soccer moms and soccer dads worldwide. I don't know if this car is sold worldwide, but at least in the States and North America. All the soccer moms and dads, they're going to be more than pleased with this car, especially now that a lot of cars are just going more comfort route when it comes to everything. This car is the same, you know, so I do think that this car will hit the mark in every way that it needs to. Oh man, I love the responsiveness, and I think that goes in part because of the naturally aspirated V6 and the sound of it. I love the sound of this V6. Like, some people are like, V6, yeah, but a V8, blah, blah, blah. This thing sounds so good. I love it. It sounds beefy. I love it. You just shift and it's happy. It's a happy SUV. Oh my goodness. Yeah, these downshifts are actually very, very fast. Now, one thing that I'm noticing, and this is kind of a Tesla thing. So if y'all are familiar with Teslas, you'll know that on their screen, when you're using their autopilot system, whatever, it shows you cars that appear where yours is. Like if you're around traffic, whatever, it shows you cars that are around. This does the exact same thing in the gauge cluster. And that is so cool. Oh, this is so cool. In the little screen with the car, when your brake lights are on, it shows you. Hold on, I want to show you guys. Look at this. You let off the brake, boom, you go on the brake, it shows you the brakes. That is so cool. Okay, so that is just a cool feature. Oh, that is such a cool feature. I love attention to detail like that. Who thought of that? Whoever's in Acura's department who thought of that, thank you. That is something we don't need at all. Nobody needs that. But it is the coolest thing in the world to have that. Oh my goodness. That attention to detail is amazing. And that's something that I love in a car. This thing sounds so good. Oh my goodness. This is worth every penny of the $53,000. It really is. The suspension feels very nice. You feel connected with the road. The steering is very direct, even though it is light. You're not beat to the ground by the suspension, even though it's on the firmer side. Road noise is very minimal, even for having a large tire set on here. It's just everything you'd probably want in an SUV. They're bringing technology to the masses that you'd have to spend quite a bit of money for. This car can, I will go as far to say this car can make the Germans sweat a little bit. It just sounds good. This engine is addicting to listen to. I wholeheartedly think that. Wow. I feel like this induces more emotion than the PNC edition MDX did. And that's a vehicle that's built alongside the NSX supercar. Excuse me. I'm smitten by this thing. The steering wheel is super thick, so it's definitely performance oriented in that aspect. But holy cow, I'm very impressed. You know, for the most part, this thing is a solid vehicle. Wow. I love these paddle shifters. The more I'm driving this thing, the better this gets when it comes to shifting. You start to feel connected with the car in a way that you don't have to guess or assume what's happening. Oh, the transmission does feel really nice. If you leave it alone, it shifts and you don't even feel it really. And that's probably one of the main benefits of the 10-speed. Not only fuel efficiency, but the way that this car just distributes power is just fantastic. I'm very happy with this. I'm very curious of what the Type S is going to bring to the table, mostly in part because that one's going to be the performance trim for this SUV to battle, say, like, you know, the higher power Germans and things like that. Granted, they have their V6, or depending on brand, inline 6, etc., vehicles that are fun to drive, but I think this will bring that fun to drive factor at a much lower cost. Just make note of that. All in all, I'm very happy with this car. I think Acura did a very, very good job at evolutionizing, if that's the word. We're sticking with it. The MDX, to make this thing very competitive. They didn't go too crazy, which is very important, but they gave this thing all the up-needed technology, interior quality materials, you know, everything that this thing needs to be competitive, and they've done it well. Okay, so in saying that, if you guys did like this review, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That way you show support. That way I can continue bringing you guys these reviews. And then also give it a thumbs up if you do like it. YouTube algorithm. But also definitely hit that bell in the upper right hand corner if you do subscribe. That way you get notifications every time I release a video. Okay, so in saying that, I am out. So thanks again for watching.